want war. Crying babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Even 7 rows to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the brink. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about in the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack, and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute, you might hear, but they won't, cause the TVs whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ad, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguise is religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.
All right, so I'm back for a quick one, y'all, and this one is really it actually bothers me. It really bothers me, and it's another perfect and easy example. Easy, there's loads of examples like this that you can get when you're following this story about violating people's civil rights under the Trump administration. And the excuses, the people, the politicians that make excuses for it, the Supreme Court justices that make excuses for it. I mean, this is how pathetic this dynamic is. I mean, can you imagine Supreme Court justices that have the nerve to not even follow their own ethics rules, and yes, get money in the millions of dollars, while they're sitting there preaching to other people about, your rights as a citizen, and they don't even follow the damn ethics codes. They get in taxpayer dollars themselves. How dare you? But this one, it really does sadden me. And big up to the veterans out there, people that serve their country. And it doesn't even matter what country you're coming from, because goddamn, this story is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What veteran, what person serving in any military around the world deserves to be treated like this by their own goddamn government? I mean, find me a person that seems to think it's okay, a veteran from any country in the world, you know, Please find me that. I mean, I would like to know that thinks this is okay. But in any case, let's get into it. This man was held for 3 days. He's a citizen. He's a veteran. He informed them. He told them, they asked for his identification. Actually, they didn't even need to ask. He just came, was headed to work, and said, "Hey, y'all, I'm a citizen. I'm a veteran." They surrounded the man, hit him with tear gas. They came with violence. They they came making this man who presented himself to them, they're blocking his goddamn way into work like they don't have something better to fucking do with taxpayer dollars but block citizens from getting their ass to goddamn work. The thing that pays their bills, the things that pays their health care, because you greedy bastards and you corrupt ass lying politicians seem to take people for granted. You take the American people for granted. This is a perfect example of that. Yeah, nonetheless, the man was beaten and battered, uh, you know, exploited, had his civil rights violated, and didn't even get a thank you after. It's just ridiculous. But let's see a little bit here.
A man's on his way to work. We drive up to the scene, and there's chaos, and there's protests, and an ice raid on a California cannabis farm. That's when things went wrong for U.S. citizen and Army veteran George Rees Jr. George works as a security guard at the Glass House Farms in Camarillo. And you can see his white car right here being blocked by a wall of agents. He exited his car and tried to tell the officers he was going to work legally as a citizen. Agents then surrounded his car, banging on his windows. George, he tried to back away from the agents, but was pepper sprayed. His car engulfed. He says when he then was pinned down by two officers and then arrested. George was held for 3 days at the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles. No charges were filed. He had no access to an attorney, and he missed his 3-year-old daughter's birthday. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement, George Rees was arrested and he has been released. He has not been charged. The U.S. Attorney's Office is reviewing his case, along with dozens of others, for potential federal charges related to the execution of the federal search warrant in Camarillo. George Rees Jr. joins me now. George, thank you for being here. When I saw this story, I mean, it's hard to believe what you experienced, because when you pulled up and you saw the chaos, what did you think was going on?
Um, I kind of, I kind of put two and two together that a protest was happening. I mean, the street was completely filled with people. It was a log jam. Cars lined up, people getting out their cars, um, and it was just a big crowd. So I kind of figured what was going on when I pulled up and saw it.
But as you're pulling up, I mean, you're a citizen, you're a veteran.
Yes.
You weren't a part of the protest. You were trying to go to work. Did you tell the ICE officers all this when you spoke to them?
It was the first thing I said when I pulled up to them and asked them and told them everything. I told them I was a U.S. citizen, that I worked there, that I was trying to get to work. I mentioned that I was a veteran. I told them all those things. I wasn't part of the protest. I'm not there to fight them. I'm just trying to get to work.
What'd they say?
They didn't care. They all just started yelling at me and started getting hostile. They just started getting hostile.
And we see, as in the video, what's going on in the car engulfed, and you were pepper sprayed. You were also held for 3 days. There were no charges filed. You didn't have access to an attorney where you were held. What were you told during those 3 days about why you were there and how long you might have to be there?
I was told nothing, not a single thing.
Could you call somebody? Could you
They
talk
just-
to anyone?
No, they didn't let me call anyone. They didn't let me talk to a lawyer. They didn't even let me shower when I was covered in tear gas and CO spray and my body was burning.
That's unbelievable to think that you were denied those things. I mean, you have said that you were put on suicide watch. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. Um, just dealing with that entire situation, and what had happened with that entire incident that day, and then um, on top of all that, just knowing that I would miss my daughter's birthday, that was the biggest one for me. It's hard if I'm being honest. Just knowing that I will never get that chance to know that I wasn't there. I didn't even wasn't even able to get her a gift. So it's it's a terrible feeling.
Of course. I can only imagine. I mean, what you were thinking at that time. And you are a father of two young kids. Your daughter was turning 3 while you were detained. But George, I keep going back to not only being a father and, of course, a human being, you are a veteran who served this country. When you look and reflect on how you were treated in that moment and what's happened just a week later, how are you feeling?
Um, I'm feeling um every feeling in the book. It just I just can't wrap my head around it. I still can't wrap my head around it. I missed a lot. I missed a lot when they locked me up, and there was just a lot to deal with and a lot that happened. I just can't wrap my head around it, if I'm being honest with you.
Did you expect when you said you were a veteran to have been treated differently by the officers?
No, it shouldn't matter if I'm a veteran. It shouldn't matter if I was a citizen or not, or the color of my skin. No one should be treated that way at all, especially without questioning or just for no reason at all. Um, just because their emotions got the best of them. No one should be treated that way.
George Rees, thank you for joining and sharing what has happened. I'm sorry that you have lost what you have. It's really shocking to all of us. Thank you.
Veteran says he was pepper sprayed, gassed, and dragged out of his car at gunpoint by ICE agents when they raided a California marijuana farm just last week. 25-year-old George Rees, who was deployed to Iraq, said he works as a security guard at Glasshouse Farms and was caught up in the raid even after telling agents he's a U.S. citizen. Now he plans to sue the federal government.
It doesn't matter if you're an immigrant. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter if you voted left. It doesn't matter if you voted right. It doesn't matter if you're black, brown, yellow, green. No one deserves to be treated this way. It shouldn't have happened, and I hope this never happens to anyone ever again.
Now, Rees said he was held in federal custody for
3 days without any formal charges. He said he also wasn't given medical care and wasn't allowed to contact anyone, including a lawyer.
Yeah, he was given medical care and wasn't allowed to contact anyone, including his lawyer, family, these kind of things. And, you know, i- if you really have an ounce of, sanity in your body, in your brain, uh, if you've served for your country, doesn't matter what military force it was, Danish, Canadian, German, the Nigerian military, it does, South Korean military, North Korean. It doesn't matter. I mean, you could be even in one of these despot countries, and even the people in the military there would be offended by this shit. Like, damn, I served for you and you locked my ass up. Yeah, I show you I'm a citizen of my own country, serving in the military, and you detain him anyway for 3 days. It takes you 3 goddamn days to figure out who's a veteran, who serves in your military, who's a citizen. If it took you that long to know what to do with this guy, you want a license to do this to anybody, essentially. And I just want to say to this guy, and that you are actually a hero because you're showing and speaking with compassion and unity and love for your country. You know, I don't know if this guy has an immigrant background. I don't know. How would I know? I mean, I did, that didn't actually occur to me, but because, he's obviously not trying to find out who all the immigrants are himself. He's not doing agreeing with this, but if he is an immigrant, he's an excellent example of what a good immigrant would be. Unlike a lot of the immigrants that work for the Trump administration, corrupt pedophiles or pedophile friends that they protect. Also, they protect people that commit espionage against the United States of America. They protect treasonous, you know, under the guise of being self-righteous about who they are. Yeah, so this is a real debacle. But let me just follow up a little bit with a little bit about this guy right here. Let me see here.
Here's more detailed information about George Rees, focusing on how he became disabled, his military service, credentials, and active duty background, based on available reporting. Military service and how he became disabled. Enlisted at 18, Rees joined the US Army at age 18, serving 4 years, including deployment to Iraq in 2019. Site turn news turn search 00. Serving in Iraq. During active duty, he experienced injuries to his neck and back. These injuries left him a disabled veteran, which he later referenced during his arrest. I had neck and back injuries from my 4-year Army service, he said, as agents pinned him down. Site turn search 10. Disability status. He has been publicly identified as a disabled veteran, though specific medical records or diagnosis details are not publicly disclosed. Site turn searcheth. Military credentials and work in uniform. Role and rank. Public sources do not specify his Army rank, MOS, military occupational specialty, or the Unit S he served in. Service purpose. Rees said he joined the service to help better myself, because I love this country, viewing military service as a way to serve and unite people. Site turn search deployment. His known deployment was to Iraq in 2019 during his 4-year contract. Work life, during military and after discharge. Military work life. Though details are limited, his service included overseas deployment and training that resulted in physical injuries, typical of combat or operational roles. Post-military employment. After leaving the Army, he worked as a contract security guard at Glass House Farms, a legal cannabis operation in Camarillo, California, contracted through a private firm, likely Securitas. Site turn news turn search 10. Family role. As a 25-year-old father of 2, he balanced work and family responsibilities, including planning a birthday celebration for his 3-year-old daughter, which sadly was disrupted by his wrongful detention. Site turn search 1 turn news 12. Summary table, category, details. Joined Army age 18. Service duration 4 years, including deployment to Iraq in 2019. Disability. Neck and back injuries sustained during service. Military rank not publicly disclosed. Post-service job, security guard at a cannabis farm via contract work. Personal life. 25 years old, father of 2 young children. Because most sources focus on his wrongful detention and civil rights case, publicly available information about his specific rank, training credentials, or medical evaluations remains limited. Nothing beyond general service and injury.
So this guy, this good American who fought for his country, was disabled while serving. He has been detained, and he essentially did all the things that they go on TV and tell you they want people to do. They tell you, well, if you didn't fight back, it wouldn't be like this. Well, if you weren't rude, it wouldn't be like this. Well, if you hadn't done this, then we wouldn't have had to do this. Well, this guy did everything according to what they claim they want you to do. Identify yourself. I mean, after all, they're trying to find out who you are. He's on his way to work. What right do you have to stop him from going to work? Where does that work? What country on earth does that work in? Is that like, under the Gestapo? Is that, where is this? Is this North Korea? What the hell? You against somebody going to work, having a 9 to 5 job, paying their bills, taking care of the family, or you're against that? I mean, it's crazy because they'll probably try to cut his medical, benefits also, which is ridiculous. Not only stop you from going to work and paying your taxes for a day, supporting your family, which is what they claim they want out of a good person, a good, the right claims a lot of things, in the U.S. We know that often is not what they really do, to people, regardless of what they claim. Um, yeah, this guy is just another tragic reality story in the mix going on right now, and being justified by some Supreme Court justices, being justified by basically the majority of the Congress, majority of the Senate, right? Being justified by that, being justified by Trump, being justified by basically all of them. I mean, they have not prepared themselves to lead a government, for the people and by the people. They're not really prepared. They don't have strategies. How do we actually identify who the citizens are when we're doing a raid, boss? Tell me, what do we do? What happens if he says I'm an American citizen and I'm on my way to work, boss, and I'm a veteran? What do you do? Throw him in there with the rest of them. God damn it. That's really what this is about. I mean, this guy is a citizen, a veteran, a disabled veteran, was injured in combat, you know, detained by ICE for 3 days after he was headed to work, and just showed up to work and saw that there was these ICE people there, and he was like, "Hey, I'm headed to work. My name is this and that. I'm a citizen. I'm a veteran. Can you let me go to work?" And they surrounded his car, shot tear gas at him, surrounded his car, broke his damn window, dragged him out, brutalized him, essentially, which is what is being alleged. I mean, you could, they don't show all the violence on, in the media, what happened. They don't show that much. I'm sure some people have it, but you get the idea. He missed his daughter's birthday, and they threw him out 3 days later without even a thank you. Thanks for your service. None of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he basically was brutalized. He himself, as an American citizen, as a veteran, is saying you violated his civil rights. And you must be very clear. That means you are wrong. It doesn't matter why it happened. It's happening too goddamn much under this administration, especially to citizens like this. Following your rule. I mean, this is a really ridiculous case, because no one else in the Western world is running around like this who's served their country. You know, um, yeah, this is crazy. Citizens are not running around, in Denmark, you know, ducking and dodging goddamn immigration. You know, they're not doing that in countries that have free higher education. They're not doing that in countries that have universal health care. No, they're doing that in places that don't, like the US. That's where they're doing it. They stop your ass from going to work and can't even say, oops, I'm sorry. They didn't do that. They're still trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Still trying to figure out a way. How can this brown, or this guy with a little bit more color, dark hair, how can we just find a way to justify this one this time again? Is there a way? That's what's actually going on. And this guy, thank you. I want to say thank you so much, because you're an excellent example. And you did the right thing. How you conducted yourself was thoughtful because you didn't just think about this can't ever happen to you again. The way you handled yourself means you thought about every other citizen in the country, every other human being, every other person, every other resident. You thought about more than yourself. You are exemplary. You're my kind of dude. Thank you. I appreciate that. I see you. I see you for who you are. A good person. Something we need more of, by the way. Something we need a lot more of. For those that didn't really hear him say what his situation was like, what happened to him. Here it
A
is one
man's
more
on his way
time.
to work. We drive up to the scene, and there's chaos, and there's protests, and an ICE raid on a California cannabis farm. That's when things went wrong for U.S. citizen and Army veteran George Rees Jr. George works as a security guard at the Glass House Farms in Camarillo. And you can see his white car right here being blocked by a wall of agents. He exited his car and tried to tell the officers he was going to work legally as a citizen. Agents then surrounded his car, banging on his windows. George, he tried to back away from the agents, but was pepper sprayed. His car engulfed. He says when he then was pinned down by 2 officers and then arrested. George was held for 3 days at the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles. No charges were filed. He had no access to an attorney, and he missed his 3-year-old daughter's birthday. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement, George Rees was arrested and he has been released. He has not been charged. The U.S. Attorney's Office is reviewing his case, along with dozens of others, from potential federal charges related to the execution of the federal search warrant in Camarillo. George Rees Jr. joins me now. George, thank you for being here. When I saw this story, I mean, it's hard to believe what you experienced, because when you pulled up and you saw the chaos, what did you think was going on?
I can answer that. What he was thinking of is he was saying, oh, wow, what's going on here? It looks like there's a demonstration. It looks like there's some federal agents here, ICE agents or something like that. Hey, you know what? I'm on my way to work. I've done nothing wrong. I'll just go up and identify them, and they will recognize me. I'll identify myself and they will recognize me. I'll just tell them, hey, I'm a citizen. I'm a veteran. I work here. I'm on my way to work, and they'll respect that. That's what he was thinking. Boy, did he get the shock of his life. Then he saw them shoot tear gas at his ass after saying that, and he saw they turned on him too. Yes, after he identified himself.
I kind of put 2 and 2 together that a protest was happening. I mean, the street was completely filled with people. It was a logjam. Cars lined up, people getting out their cars, and it was just a big crowd. So I kind of figured what was going on when I pulled up and saw it.
But as you're pulling up, I mean, you're a citizen, you're a veteran.
Yes.
You weren't a part of the protest. You were trying to go to work. Did you tell the ICE officers all this when you spoke to them?
It was the first thing I said when I pulled up to them and asked them and told them everything. I told them I was a U.S. citizen, that I worked there, that I was trying to get at work. I mentioned that I was a veteran. I told them all those things. I wasn't part of the protest. I'm not there to fight them. I'm just trying to get to work.
What'd they say?
They didn't care. They all just started yelling at me and started getting hostile. They just started getting hostile.
And we see, as in the video, what's going on. The car engulfed and you were pepper sprayed.
And this is the interesting thing. This is the insanity of a lot of these people that make excuses for this stuff. They talk this shit about American industry. They talk this shit about paying taxes. They talk this shit about all kinds of stuff, right? And then Not only do they not respect the people that exhibit themselves, that are actually the kind of people they claim they want, that they're not here to hurt. They claim they're not here to hurt citizens, ICE. They claim they're not here to detain citizens. They're not here to violate their. That's what they claim. So forget that. We see that that doesn't work. This is just one of many examples how, you have no protection, really. Your ass is on the line. You can die if you are confronted by ICE. Very simple. You could die that day. The way they operate, the way they have been told is okay to operate by their superiors, and validated by the uppers in the administration, in the U.S. government. This is crazy. Although we know they don't respect life if it's not the color or the gender of us. If you're not a woman that is not willing to give up your right to have an abortion, you could die in ICE hands because they don't like you. If you're a brown person, a black person, a Native American that served their country, you could be dead right here. This man could have died just doing exactly what he was supposed to do. So not only do they not care about that, right? The thing about it is they don't even give a damn about the business they disrupted. The man is trying to go to fucking work. Someone pays him and is depending on him to show up to work. You just fucked up production. You just actually fucked over a U.S. business. That's what they did. So now no respect for U.S. businesses either. You're nothing. You're nothing. No respect. They didn't even come there thinking, you know what? Somebody's got to show up to work today. Since we're going to show up at this business, duh. Yeah, of course people are going to show up to work. So you just show up to brutalize people? That was the goal. That's what they got. He showed up, American citizen, veteran, said I'm American citizen, said I'm just going to work, said I'm a veteran. They shot tear gas at him. They didn't care. Hey, there may be folks out there that think they want this to happen to them. I can see Timothy. Maybe you want this to happen to you, and maybe you'll say the same thing when it does happen to you. Jeffrey, maybe you want this to happen to you. I don't know who you are or where you're from, what country. Some of you may not be Americans. Some of you may be trolls, pretending to be American, trying to get Americans to fight. Maybe that's some of your goals. Some of you are just bigots. We have some of that in the U.S. too. But maybe y'all want this to happen to you in your country, in your state, where you live, you or your family members. Judging by the comments you make, I assume that is what you want. Unless your comment is like, hey, man, you deserve justice. Or, hey, I'm rooting for you. Hey, thanks for your service. Hey, man, you did the right thing. You didn't even just think about yourself. You thought about everybody else. Hey, man, I see you for who you are. You're a good guy. I see you for who you are. I recognize that in you because I have that in me too. See, if you don't have this kind of good way of being a citizen, a good way of being a human being, a positive way of being a human being, a positive way of living out your life, you may not recognize that in him. If you are not the type of person that would help a stranger, help an old lady while she's being robbed, defend your country, you may not recognize a good person when you see it. You may not actually recognize it. So, and I'm sure many of you don't, because this is a clear example. Many of you MAGA people, you had your chance. Many of you ICE agents, you had your chance. The man showed himself. He bared who he was to you, and you couldn't even fucking recognize it. Couldn't even recognize it, yeah. Couldn't even recognize it. Oh, well.
Of course. Here's the English version of the tailored Know Your Rights Guide for immigrants. Attack. Know your rights, a guide for immigrants. 1. You have rights regardless of your status. You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to answer questions about your immigration status or country of origin. You have the right to refuse consent to a search of yourself, your belongings, or your home unless an officer has a warrant. You have the right to an attorney before answering any questions. Number 2. If you are stopped or questioned by immigration or police, stay calm and be polite. You can ask, "Am I being detained or am I free to go?" If you are not being detained, you can calmly leave. You do not have to lie about your immigration status, but you do not have to show papers unless the officer has a warrant. You can say, "I do not consent to a search." You can say, "I want to remain silent and speak with a lawyer." Number 3, if immigration agents come to your home, ask to see a warrant signed by a judge. If they don't have a warrant, do not let them in. If they have a warrant, ask to read it carefully. The warrant should specify the address and who or what is being searched. Do not physically resist. You may record the encounter if possible. Number 4, if you are arrested or taken into custody, say immediately, "I want to remain silent. I want to speak with a lawyer." You have the right to an attorney, even if you cannot afford one. You have the right to a phone call. Use it to contact family or a trusted lawyer or immigrant rights group. Don't sign anything without fully understanding it. Ask for a lawyer. Sabra 5, important contacts and resources. Find a trusted immigration lawyer or legal aid. National Immigration Legal Services Directory. Place wimmigrationadvocates.org/nonprofit. Legal directory / American Immigration Lawyers and Lawyers Associate.org. Immigrant rights organizations. Race, teep.racistexas.org. National Immigration Law Center. United We Dream, unitedwedream.org. Know your local immigrant rights groups and hotlines. Number 6. Tips for families. Prepare a Know Your Rights plan with your family. Keep copies of important documents in a safe place. Designate a trusted person to care for children if parents are detained. Memorize important phone numbers. Practice what to say if ICE comes to the door or stops you in public. Now 7. What to do if your rights are violated. Write down everything. Names, badge numbers, dates, locations. If possible, record interactions without interfering. Report violations to DHS Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties. .dhs.gov, ds.gov, immigrant advocacy groups for support and legal help. Consider filing a complaint or seeking legal action with the help of an attorney. Namameb, you are not alone. There are many organizations and communities standing with immigrants to defend your rights and dignity. Knowing your rights helps you stay safe and empowered. Would you like me to prepare this as a PDF or infographic? To respond when your civil rights.
That was for immigrants, and he's a citizen. So those were specialized instructions or direction. Of course, you should probably consult someone in your own town or in your state about your rights, or just a reputable organization with lawyers that handle these kind of cases, civil rights cases. But that's for immigrants. Immigrants have slightly set difference in terms of their rights and how they can respond. So, but this guy here, this brother here, he said that no one deserves to be treated the way he was treated. Citizen, immigrant, resident, just simply nobody. Even you MAGA people, he doesn't even think you deserve to be treated that way. I mean, this guy is really, he's just exemplary example of a good person, of a good citizen, a good veteran, but there are some other things for citizens to pay attention to. So,
Civil rights or constitutional rights are violated is critical. And unfortunately, most citizens aren't taught how to handle such situations. Here's a detailed breakdown of how to recognize violations, what to do in the moment, and what steps to take afterward. 1. Know your core rights. All U.S. citizens, and in many cases lawful residents, have these fundamental rights protected under the U.S. Constitution, especially the Bill of Rights, Amendment, right. Right. First, freedom of speech, religion, assembly, press, and petition. Fourth, protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. Fifth, right to remain silent, protection against self-incrimination and double jeopardy. Sixth, right to legal counsel and a fair, speedy trial. Eighth, protection against cruel and unusual punishment. 14th, equal protection under the law, due process rights. 2. If you're confronted or detained, in public or at home, stay calm and non-aggressive. Ask, am I being detained or am I free to go? If you're not being detained, you can walk away. Do not consent to any search. I do not consent to a search. You do not have to answer questions beyond identifying yourself, in most states. Record the incident if possible, audio-video. This is legal in all 50 states, as long as you don't interfere with law enforcement. 3. If you are arrested, do not resist, even if the arrest is illegal. Resistance can be used against you. Say, I am exercising my right to remain silent. I want to speak with an attorney. Do not sign anything or answer questions without a lawyer present. Request to make your one phone call. You have that right. 4. After a violation or abuse. If you believe your rights were violated, as George Rees did, take these steps. A. Document everything. Write down names, badge numbers, vehicle numbers, time, place, and what was said. Get contact info of witnesses. Secure and back up any photo, video evidence. B. Get medical care. If you are physically harmed, seek care immediately and ensure injuries are documented. C. File complaints. Local police department's Internal Affairs Unit or Civilian Oversight Board. U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, civilrights.justice.gov, State Attorney General's Office. D. Contact a civil rights attorney. Organizations like aclu.aclu.org/legal assistance, NAACP Legal Defense Fund.naacpldf.org, National Lawyers Guild, .g.org, National Veterans Legal Services Program for Veterans, 80.nvlsp.org. 5. When to consider a lawsuit. You may have a case if you were unlawfully detained, arrested. Law enforcement used excessive force. You were denied access to a lawyer. Your speech, religion, or due process rights were suppressed. You were racially profiled. Federal law allows you to sue for civil rights violations under 42 U.S.C. Paragraph 1983 for actions by state local officials. Bivens actions for some federal agent violations. Hammer 6. Know the difference between federal and local authority. In George Rees' case, ICE agents, not local police, arrested him. This can change your legal options. ICE is part of DHS, a federal agency. Complaints must go HS Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, e//.dhs.gov, Inspector General for DHS, /DDHS.7. 7. Know when your rights are not optional. No government agent, including immigration or federal law enforcement, can override your constitutional rights without cause, even in suspicious circumstances. You do not need to prove your innocence just because you're a person of color, a veteran, or in a high-risk job. Summary, practical mantras. Am I being detained or am I free to go? I do not consent to a search. I am exercising my right to remain silent. I want to speak with a lawyer. Would you like a printable card or...
All right. So, as you heard, you can't actually sue the federal government. I don't know where Pete, I guess he's just trolling, but anyone, you can sue you can sue the military. You can sue the, what is this? If they violate your rights as an employer or otherwise. Any federal employee, including military, you can. And it's not only American citizens that can. Other governments do for their citizens if their citizens are harmed by American military, in any place they may be stationed. They're not only stationed in places of war, they're stationed in countries of peace as well. I'll give you an example. A person in the U.S. military stationed in Greenland doesn't have the right to go out and just violate local law. You don't have the right to brutalize. And again, this is the law that they're violating, ICE. It's not him. He didn't violate any law. They violated the civil rights law. So, and which is part of the Constitution. So they broke the law, allegedly, but until the case is finished, right? But point in case, you can, and he will be suing them. Now, so people have those rights. That's the good part about it. They still have them. Of course, we have an administration that will try to prolong any type of actions, civil or otherwise, against anything that anyone does right now. It's a rogue government. It's a rogue regime. The leadership has been pretty much decapitated in all these different departments. So you have department heads that are anti-U.S. government, anti-constitution, anti-civil rights. So, of course, it's going to be some time before these things happen. But look, Americans, we're tough people. We're used to that. We're used to, fighting cases for 10, 20 years. Some people are fighting cases for their parents, for their parents having their human or civil rights violated, like literally in some kind of way. It doesn't always have to be a traffic stop or stop by the police. It could be they stole your parents' land and never, didn't actually go about acquiring the land property. The governments, they have all kinds of cases like this. It could be other things. It could be that they violated your family members' rights in some other ways, and that it takes time for justice. But it does come, and this is a case where a lot of people are going to be suing the Trump administration. They're going to be suing departments. Yeah, they violate their rights. Those are criminal acts when you violate someone's rights. And it could be individually. It could be the agency. So keep that in mind. It's not yet North Korea, but it's not a socialist country in that way. You can actually sue the state, and you can actually sue individuals. It depends on the particulars of each case, right, and how they're handled. So kudos to him, and I appreciate him thinking about other people, not just himself. Now, today I was just going to be short. I mean, for this minute, I'll be back. I've got some things I got to handle, and also got to travel over to Sweden for some, maybe half the day or something like that to handle a few things there, some private things. But in any case, I appreciate everybody coming out. If you hear the live later, click like. I appreciate y'all a lot. Yesterday we had a different kind of conversation the last time I came on, because I wanted to engage the chat a little bit. But I'm going to do that once a week. Engage the chat directly, because I can't always follow the chat when I'm doing these lives, and also I can't always spend my time responding to trolls, people that don't take things seriously. That can't happen. So, but I will try to make a point to have a regular schedule about those days where I'm going to engage the audience directly, where people can ask questions, where people can make suggestions, ask me what I think about this particular topic or that particular topic, or did you hear about this that happened? Yeah, I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to select a day so folks will know in advance, so it's not just something people can't find and participate, have a bad option of participating in. I'm going to try to choose a time and a day that is pretty good once I look at the analytics a little bit in the next couple of days. So look out for that. But I appreciate everybody. By the way, if you want to support in any way, you can go check out my merch at Azonto Apparel, Ben Stride. That's a hyphen, apparel.online. You can just Google it and it will come up, Azonto Apparel, and you can get some gear if you want there. So on that note, I appreciate everybody. Click like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and to the veterans out there all around the world, you do not deserve to be treated this way by your own government. It's very simple, and I appreciate you particularly the U.S. military and the country that I live in, the Danish military, right? Thank you, for actually standing up for people's human and civil rights, not violating people's human and civil rights. If you're those type, thank you, because that's what it takes to have successful countries, to make sure countries continue to thrive. Also to keep Western civilization, Western society in a good standing, so we can continue to enjoy some of the things that our actual ancestors who really did fight in wars like mine, the Civil War, War of Independence, Vietnam, Korea, World War I, World War II, to help preserve some of those privileges that they fought and died for so we could have today. A lot of us don't really appreciate that, and I understand it. It could be a intelligence thing, or it could be a youth thing. Sometimes youth don't always get a chance to settle down and reflect on some of these things and enjoy, really get a chance to see what they're in. That's a challenge in itself. So we got to do more to help the youth understand that and get them to see where they fit into the picture. And this is one of the ways. This is one of the thousands of ways you can be a good American citizen, But far too often, this particular group that go out and fight, get injured, come home, and their own citizens don't even respect them. And I'll be damned, your own government doesn't even respect you. I mean, the United States government, we don't treat our veterans like we don't treat them well at all. Shame, shame, shame. All right, y'all, I'm out. Peace. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Peace. Y'all be good. Stand strong.
They want war. Crying babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and I feel we on the brink. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack, and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute, minute you might hear, but they won't, cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't stare. And like an ad, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison.
They want war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they